Good evening, and thank you for joining us on Carolina Classrooms. I'm Dawn Samples. We have with us in the studio some of the finest teachers from around our state. These ladies are 4 of the 5 finalists for the coveted title of 2017 South Carolina Teacher of the Year. The 5th finalist, Joey Trail, a teacher at Forest Brook Middle School in Horry County, was unable to join us tonight, but we'll hear from Joey and look into his classroom a little later. We taped this program prior to the announcement of the winner, which took place at the Teacher of the Year celebration on April 20th in Columbia. So I will say good luck to all of you. And at the end of tonight's program, we'll reveal the winner and show you the exciting announcement. Also, later in the show, we'll see some short clips of these teachers and Joey in action. But for now, let's meet our teachers. I'll introduce them alphabetically according to the district they represent. First is Dr. Leah Barley, a teacher at Royal Elementary School in Florence School District 1. Welcome, Leah.
Thank you.
Again, Joey Trail, who is a teacher at Forest Brook Middle School and represents Horry County Schools, couldn't be here with us tonight. But Sharon Ballou is with us, and she's a teacher at Lexington High School in Lexington School District 1. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Next is Sabrina Williams, a teacher at R.H. Fulmer Middle School in Lexington School District 2. Welcome, Sabrina.
Thank you.
And rounding out the finalists is Jennifer Wise, a teacher at Han Middle School in Richland School District 1. Welcome.
Thank you.
So congratulations to all of you, and thank you for taking the time to be here with us tonight. Being an educator myself, I know what a tremendous honor it is for you just to be nominated for this award. So I can imagine it's an exciting time for you,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
It is.
So what are some of the things that you've experienced since this has happened? How have you been feeling the last few weeks?
It has left me breathless. I don't know about you all. It's just really taken me by storm, and it seems like my life is just running 90 miles an hour right now. But I know it's a time to enjoy. It's a huge honor, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. So I'm trying to just soak it all in.
Just enjoy every minute.
Yeah.
Sharon, what were you going to say just a minute
I was going
ago?
to say it almost seems like we're celebrities of sort, and so it seems a little humbling to think that you're being honored in that way, and so it's been a really good experience.
Yeah.
Well, you are celebrities. You are in your
It's a
own
little
way.
overwhelming.
It is. It's
A little
different.
overwhelming.
Well,
And
and
I just think of, we're just doing what we normally do, what we all love. And, it's a great honor.
Absolutely, and having the opportunity to both represent and celebrate all the great teachers in South Carolina, because so many wonderful things are being done throughout our state, and it is an opportunity and experience to be cherished.
well, and I know a lot of teachers want to see what it looks like for you guys in your classrooms, and we are going to get to see a profile of each of you in just a minute, and get to see you in your classrooms with your students and talk about that in just a little bit. So that'll be fun. In the last few weeks, I imagine you all have had maybe some things turned upside down just a little bit with your schedules and everything. How have your students reacted to this?
There's a lot of questions of why are you leaving again? Where are you going this time? I feel like I'm a part-time teacher right now, and a lot of the responsibilities are pulling me out of the classroom that I'm not used to and they're not used to, but they are excited. They are certainly excited.
My students are a little older, and so they have a lot of questions about the time frame and when is this going to happen, when is that going to happen. So they're very excited about this, and I think they're old enough to really understand the significance of what's going on. So it really means a lot to them to be involved in it, and they're just over the top.
I can imagine they must be very proud of you. What about you guys? Have your students been excited?
They have been excited, and they have a lot of, mine are kind of in between, not as old as your students are, not quite as young as yours, but they've had a lot of questions about time frame and the process, and what are you doing now, and now what's happening. and I haven't had to leave early so much because I live closer to Columbia.
Right.
And you've had to travel a lot farther than I have. But they're excited.
Yeah. And you?
As are mine. Again, being in Columbia, there's not as much time away from the classroom, but also explaining, and there are going to be times when we're not there. So being creative, we've had some Friday afternoon study sessions and even some Saturdays from 8 to 10, just so we can make sure we're still able to do what we are, optional of course, but able to make sure that there's any questions that we have that time still together. But they are so excited and very involved in the process as they can be, and excited for everyone else too. They actually wanted to watch some of the videos today to get to know all the other teachers that were taking part in it as well.
Oh, good. And that's good, because right now we're going to do just that. So let's take a quick look now at each of these teachers at work in the classroom. The South Carolina Department of Education has shared with us a short profile of each finalist that was produced for the Teacher of the Year celebration. So first, we'll visit with Dr. Leah Barley at Royal Elementary School.
For as long as I've been alive, I've wanted to be a teacher. It was very natural to me as the oldest of 15 grandchildren. As long as I had a captive audience, I would teach. I've always loved teaching. I feel like every child has something to contribute. Every child comes to school with a backpack every day, packed with little knowledge and experiences of the things that they know and do already. And it's our job as an educator to fill that backpack. As a South Carolina Teacher of the Year, I would want teachers to know that they have a backpack too. They have strategies and knowledge to share and to continue that learning. Now, learning doesn't just stop because you get the first degree or you take a class. It's a continuous process. And whether that's a degree or a class or attending a leadership conference, I would encourage all educators to model that continuous learning for their students. I have lots of experience with different grade levels, and from kindergarten up to graduate students online. That experience in those various levels lend itself to what I do now in the Writing Lab at Royal. I work with grades 1 through 6, and not only do I have to know the standards for implementation for my subject level, but I work with all teachers at Royal to integrate what they're doing in science and math and social studies as well, so that what they're learning in the classroom makes sense what they're doing in here.
Raise your hand if you know who your partner is. All right, what does it mean to be a partner?
I implement standards such as opinion writing and persuasive writing and teaching the writing process. You know, if third graders, for example, need 3 paragraphs, you know, what does it look like to indent the content, the details, the closing, everything, you know, that goes into the writing standards. Every morning I think of the child that can't or won't or doesn't think that they can. And what gets me out of bed in the morning is celebrating with those students when they succeed. Kids aren't going to remember a lesson about similes 10 years ago, but they're going to remember how you treated them and the relationship that you built with them.
Yeah, that is so true. I know you look like you have a little bit, almost tears in your eyes. Can you think of an instance? I know one of the things that you said was that you're not just teaching the standards or teaching your content area, you're really teaching the child.
You're teaching life. You're teaching the whole
Right.
child every day. You know, how to tie your shoes, how to tuck in your shirt, how to behave in the hallway, wash your hands after you use the restroom. You know, you were teaching life skills, how to be kind and be trustworthy and be an honorable, good person in life. It's not just about the standards.
So what are some ways that you feel like you've been able to reach your students where you've seen examples of that having an impact on your students?
Well, I feel like it's really important to build a relationship with every child, whether you bond on a minimal level of, you know, you both have a red shirt on for the day, or, you know, you have the same experience and you see someone out at the grocery store or Target or you speak to them. I think building those basic relationships of trust enters into the classroom because they learn to trust you and see you in a different way.
Right, and we know as educators that when our students trust us, they're willing to take risks.
Yep,
for
they
us.
are. They sure are.
Right. So, are there any things that you feel like you've been able to maybe model for your peers or for your students? You mentioned that you're a learner and you're continuously learning. So what are some things that you're learning right now?
Well, I joke all the time that I would be a continuous student. I would be an online student and in the classroom student forever. I have an agreement with my husband that I would finish my last degree on this date and he got his wife back. So if it were up to me, I would probably go get another doctorate, but I'm going to hold that promise for a while. But I just think that continuous learner in all of us, you know, your students have to see that maybe you don't know the answer sometimes, but look it up with them. Or maybe you question things and wonder things too, and that's real important for your students to see and for you to model.
And just learn with them.
Sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing with us today,
Thank you.
Leah. So next we're going to visit Sharon Ballou at Lexington High School.
I think I've always been a teacher. There was some part of me that just, if I find out something interesting, if I discover something new, I think I'm just compelled to tell other people about it. And as an Air Force officer, I was a meteorologist. So I think at that point, I started teaching people about the effect of weather on their operations and their lives. So teaching has been a big part of my life. Even if we do find a relationship between two variables, the test is going to show us if that occurs by just pure random chance or not. So keep that in the back of your mind. I think human beings have always been curious about what's going on in their world and what's going on with others.
5. Oh! Wow.
And they have a need to relate that. And so there's a need to tell stories and to tell other people about what you've learned. Part of teaching is making sure you are able to communicate to other people things that are going on in their world and in their lives. With teaching, every day is exciting, and I absolutely cannot wait to get out of bed. There are always so many challenges. You just know that every day is going to be new and different and exciting. And when you look at your students and you really realize that, wow, we accomplished something today. They learned something today. They had that big aha moment today. Those are the things that I live for. And when I look at their smiles and I think, wow, they're wonderful. I love this. And so teaching really excites me. It's a challenge and it's a job that doesn't end when you go home, but every day is wonderful.
Well, Sharon, talk to us a little bit about some of what we just saw. Now, one of the things that you mentioned that struck me was about curiosity. So what is the role of curiosity in your classroom?
I think as human beings, we've always been curious about what's going on in our world. And I try to get lessons that are geared towards what my students are asking questions about on any given day. So it means that I don't prepare weeks in advance. Sometimes it's something that happened just the day before. The day before this lesson, I was being a klutz as usual, and I'm talking and I'm explaining, and I knocked over someone's water bottle, and I swear it must have had 20 gallons of water in it. So I peeked my head out of the door. I asked the housekeeper for some paper towels. Well, she has the school paper towels that are those accordion pleated things, and so she's pulling off paper towel after paper towel, and I'm trying to get up all of this water. And I realized that one of the kids has their iPad out and they're filming me. And I thought, I'm going to be on social media, so I'll make the best of this. And I said, well, we need Bounty, the quicker picker upper. And so the next day is their aha moment. I got them. And so the next day they came in and they were testing the strength, the absorbency, and the cost of paper towels and comparing that using linear regression. So they were, when you saw the weights, awesome. They had to see how strong those towels were. So that's what they were doing. But all of their investigations arise out of something that's happened in their world. So I try to make it real. I try to keep it relevant and keep it tied into something that was on their mind, something that they were thinking about.
That's great. Making those connections
Yeah.
between what they do every day
Right.
and what they're learning in your classroom. Well, thank you. Thanks for sharing that with
Sure.
us. Now we're moving on to Sabrina Williams at R.H. Fulmer Middle School.
I did not actually realize that I wanted to be a teacher until I was in high school. My younger sister was diagnosed with a learning disability, so I would stay home and help her with homework and discovered that I really enjoyed doing that. So the next year I volunteered for a year in the special ed classroom in my school and loved it. Majored in education and then student teaching. While I loved the students, it was a very horrible experience for me, and I stopped teaching. I got my degree and said, teaching is not for me. And so I got a job with the University of South Carolina working with our physics department. The head of the department, one day he walked through the office and he said, "You have a degree in teaching. Why are you here?" And so I applied and got a job teaching and loved it. The masks that we're studying go back almost 1,000 years. And yet, when was North and South Korea divided? At the beginning of the Cold War. If I were to become the South Carolina State Teacher of the Year, I would want to turn the attention to first-year teachers, mentorship, and while our state has an absolutely outstanding mentor program here now, it ends at the end of the first year. So I'd like to expand the mentor program, and I'd also like to take a look at pre-service teachers and find ways to get them more involved in the schools. And then when they go into student teaching, they're stronger. I love my students. I love coming into school and working with middle school kids. Who would not love to work with middle schoolers? And I like to see them find different ways, new ways to solve problems and think outside the box. And that just brings me great joy.
Thank you for sharing that with us today. So I'm really interested. So your first student teaching experience was horrible,
Yes, it
and
was.
you went back after some time away. How was it when you went back?
I discovered that I really enjoyed it. I liked finding a connection with the kids, and I liked feeling like I was making a difference. It was, I don't know, it was just a whole different world, having your own classroom and being able to call the shots as you saw fit for those particular students at that time. And I felt a sense of empowerment, and I felt a sense of being able to make a difference for those students. And that made a difference for me.
So that sort of what has given you this passion for pre-service teachers and new
Absolutely.
teachers, so that maybe they don't leave after student teaching?
Absolutely. When I first started teaching thousands of years ago, they did not have mentor programs in place. And so you were pretty much thrown to the fire, and whatever happened, happened. And if you did not survive, then you just did not survive. And that's why we had such a high teacher turnover rate in South Carolina, where we had 50% of the profession leaving before the first five years had finished. Well, now we've gotten that down to a third leaving. So the statistics are better, but they're still not where they need to be. And so having more support in place has helped. But I think my passion right now is finding more support for first-year teachers and getting those pre-service teachers in the classroom earlier so that they can start finding their way and finding their bag of tricks that will help them through when they start teaching.
That's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. So staying in the Midlands, we're going to go to Hand Middle School now and drop in on the classroom of Jennifer Watts.
When I was in 11th grade, that's when I decided I wanted to be a teacher. I'm a very social person, so even before that point, I knew I wanted to have a career that allowed me to interact with people every day. In my junior year in high school, I started working with students from our high school and local middle schools in the media center after school. We would do homework, study for tests, and I started noticing that it was one of the best parts of my day. For me, math is like recess, and so being able to share that with other people was really great. And one day I was sitting in my pre-calculus class with Miss Sharon Miller, and I realized you can make a life out of this. She got to talk about math and share her love every day. It seemed like the dream job, and it certainly has been.
If I'm talking about this right here, what's k plus 1? 3. What's 3 squared? 9. What's 9 minus 1? 8. You're exactly right. Let's try it again. Let's keep going.
As the South Carolina Teacher of the Year, I would want to be an ambassador for everyone who's involved in South Carolina's schools. As teachers, we have the opportunity to see the future through our children's eyes, and that future is so rich. I would want to encourage students to pursue careers in STEM fields and in education because we need people that are excited to teach our future engineers. I want to remind educators of why they came to this incredible job and reignite that fire that brought them into the classroom. And then I want to inspire people, students and teachers alike, to be remarkable. South Carolina has had so much industry coming to it and opportunities that are on the horizon. We are on the path to something great, and I want to take an active part in that journey. Every day I'm driven by the fact that I get to interact with individuals who are going to have a tremendous impact on our future, and that's something special. I get to live life with my students, and sometimes that means laughter, and unfortunately sometimes that means tears. We're a family, and through that we're able to grow and learn and become better versions of ourselves together, and I can think of no better way to spend my day.
So Jennifer, tell me a little bit, your passion for your content, for what you teach. What are some ways that you share that passion with your students, and have you ever seen a student turn around after they've come into your classroom and maybe gone from feeling anxious or scared to really developing their own passion for it?
Absolutely. I love math, and I will talk about it with anybody, but what I get even more excited about is being able to breathe that same passion in others. And we were using gummy bears in the lesson as a way to model quadratic regression, which was similar to Sharon's lesson. So being able to find things that make math come alive and help it become just more engaging for them. Currently, my geometry students are actually building packages that a drone would be able to transport if they were an engineer for Amazon. They build or they produce business plans as if they were entrepreneurs, bringing in what's their knowledge of algebra and how are they going to use it in their real life or in their lives and in the real world. And so by helping them see, wow, math really is all around me. One that I love is we take geometry walks where we will go outside and just look to see math where it is. And I had a student come to me so excited. She said, did you know the Under Armour symbol is actually the same way that we could perpendicularly bisect a line? And I had never thought of that before. So I thought it was so fantastic that no matter what they see around them, that they see math and they're starting to be able to find it in their lives and put it into practice.
So it's all about relevance again.
Absolutely.
It's awesome. Well, we mentioned earlier that Joey Trail couldn't join us for tonight's taping, but let's travel over to Forestbrook Middle School in Horry County to get to know a little bit about Joey and watch him in his classroom.
Well, before I was a teacher, I was an entertainer for 16 years, and it started to get to where it was an empty spot. It wasn't really feeling like my soul was being filled up. It was great, the applause and stuff was great, and it came natural to me, and it really was the only thing I knew how to do. I did that for years. I was successful in that, I was confident in that, but there was something missing. And I opened a Performing Arts Academy, and I realized that's what it is. It's something with kids that's missing. So at 32, I went back as a non-traditional student to college to get my degree. What's the song that we use to remember all of our Awubuses? It is that little Molly Cyrus, bless her soul. Let's try it together, okay? After all, though, as I'll win until, because before it sits, yes, Awubus! Give yourself a round of applause. Because of my background and growing up in abject poverty, and I mean like no running water poverty, I knew what it felt like to be the kid whose talents and desires were never really noticed by people in importance as if they were important. My narrative was I never saw my own story in many of the adults. And I think that I have a really almost an obsessive passion to fight the poverty of spirit. I mean, I know that I talk about how we can fight poverty when it comes to systematic approaches to fighting poverty and material things in the school system. But poverty itself is never going to be eradicated, because every kid starts school with a belief that they can be and do anything. And sometimes as educators, it's not so much what we say to them, it's what we don't say. It's the neglect without even noticing that we're doing it. It's so easy to be that one good adult and be authentic and kind. It is so easy to give a compliment that will change a child's life. It's that easy, but it's also that hard. And if I can get them to have a rich spirit, then everything else is just cake. But that's what gets me up in the morning. And a lot of coffee.
Yes, well, we know teaching is not for the faint of heart. And probably, I think we could all say probably we need a lot of coffee. So tell me just a little bit, you all have shared such passion about what you do and what you see in your students, but we know teaching is not easy, and you probably do need a pot of coffee some mornings. What challenges do you face, and what challenges do you feel like we face as educators in South Carolina right now?
I think one challenge that all educators face is finding the key for the kids. Finding what's going to work for each individual child, and not blanket teaching, not lumping everything together and teaching to an entire class just because it's easy. You target to each individual student because of what they need. And everybody needs to be willing to take risks, be able to step outside their box and take risks in order to see the benefits for their children, because that's what's the most important thing, is getting it right for the kids.
Right. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
And being willing to research and look into strategies that might or that are going to best serve our students. Being a teacher, I read more than I could have ever imagined, and I love it because I know that as I'm bringing in these new strategies, I'm going out, I'm taking chances because I think it's really going to be successful with them. We're all growing. That's what lifelong learning is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when you think about differentiating for them and doing the research behind when you discover a child's need, what advice could you give to new teachers or to more veteran teachers who maybe struggle with that every day?
Don't be afraid to fail. Sometimes it's not going to work, and you'll figure it out along the way, but don't be afraid to fail.
And it's okay maybe to model picking yourself back up, right? For the kids.
Pick yourself back up.
That could be one of the most valuable lessons the kids learn, is it's okay to fail. It's okay to do something not quite right, but then you learn from that and you go forward. You make the changes. And that's what teachers need to do too, with their reflection at the end of each day. I'm thinking back to what worked today and what didn't work, and what can I do to make that better. And I think that all of us up here probably do that. It's just a matter of reflection and tying it back to your students.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd kind of like to piggyback off of Sabrina, because I think a lot of new teachers worry about classroom management and behavior, and they worry about the principal or another teacher walking down the hall and looking into their classroom. But I think they need to step back from that and kind of realize that a student's behavior is not their behavior, and they have a separate identity from their students. And even when you're looking at students and student behavior, that student is not their behavior. And so you have to look at individuals and get to know people and get to know what makes them tick and their motivation. And all of that plays a part in it. And so as teachers, we have to be very reflective. We have to think about the assignment, the lesson, the learning targets, and think about what is our goal? What do we really want to accomplish here? And focus on that and reflect on making that better every day. Better, better, better. And in that way, we help our students the most, I think.
I really like what you said about knowing your students, because that is at the core of what we do when we create our lessons too. We need to know our kids. We need to know what they know, what they already know, and what they need to know, and what kind of environment they're coming from, so that we can tailor our lessons to best impact them as well. So the knowledge of students is absolutely mandatory when you're creating lessons.
Do you have any ideas that administrators, of ways that administrators could help support teachers in moving through that learning curve, especially for some of the newer teachers? What would have been nice for you maybe as a beginning teacher?
I think you have to give beginning teachers that room to make mistakes and to take risks and to learn from their mistakes. And as administrators, you need to be very encouraging, very supportive, and there are other teachers there up and down the hall that they can collaborate with, talk to, people that can mentor them, people that can help them through that time. And so I think that everybody just needs to be very encouraging, very supportive, and understanding. And I think new teachers need to be a lot easier on themselves and say, I'm not going to beat myself up because this didn't go right, but next time, by golly, I'll make it better. And so we need to give them a safe psychological space where they feel free to take risk, where they feel free to be creative, where they feel free to be innovative in the classroom and think of things that we wouldn't even have thought of. But administrators need to be encouraging in that way.
I like that you mentioned being able to go in other classrooms, and our school has started a practice of, on a monthly basis, we go into other teachers' classrooms, and it may be the same content, same grade level, it might be a different, and we learn. So I'm going into a first-year teacher's classroom, maybe a first or a third, or a 22nd year is coming into mine, and there is so much to learn from that experience. And even this year, we've had the opportunity to partner with some other schools within and outside of our district and see what those teachers are doing, because us being able to collaborate and come together, we know collaboration is so important for our students in the classroom, and it is equally important for us as educators as well.
It all goes back to us also being learners, not just teachers, but learning the same way we want our students to learn. Well, we are going to take a look at some footage. Superintendent of Education Molly Spearman traveled the state in early March to notify each of these teachers in person that he or she was a finalist for Teacher of the Year. The Department of Education shared with us some photos of these encounters. Let's have a look. So I know that that was such an exciting time for you all when she came to give you the news that you had been selected. I can't imagine how excited your school must have been in your school district. So do you all have any stories or anything about how that felt when she came?
Well, I had been told the day before by my principal that I was being visited by some teachers from the upstate who wanted to look into my humanities program. And that fit because the weekend just prior to that, my principal and a bunch of teachers had gone to the middle school conference, and that's where she had met these teachers from the upstate. So she said, well, be ready, Sabrina, tomorrow you're going to have some teachers from the upstate in your classroom. And I was like, okay. I didn't think anything of it. And at 9:30, a student's notebook had totally fallen apart, and I had duct tape, and I was putting his notebook back together, and the door opens, and I look, and there's Molly Spearman and a TV camera behind her. I'm going, and everybody piled into the room, and there were a lot of people there. It was really exciting and completely unexpected. They were not the teachers from the upstate.
That's great. What about you guys?
My guidance counselor tried to give me a heads up. She saw Molly and the entourage that came with cameras coming down the hallway, and she opened my classroom door and gave me some strange hand signals and then closed the door again, and I thought we were being too loud.
Oh.
So I turned to my third graders. I said, "Oh gosh, they're testing next door. Let's be really quiet." Completely missed the hand signals, and a few seconds later, Miss Spearman walked through the door, and it was a great day. It was a great surprise.
That's exciting. That's really neat. Did you guys?
Mine too. I was completely surprised by it, and I think my funny story comes shortly thereafter. We were in the hall talking excitedly about everything, and someone says, "Where's my husband?" And I said, "Oh, well, he's at work," and we realized that no one's gotten in touch with him, and they're like, "We need to get him to the building right now." We're a one-car family, so he was several blocks away, and then it became like him kind of running through his office like, "Someone's got to get me to Hand Middle School so I can go be a part of it." He did make it there, but it was a great time.
That's cute.
And we were in the middle of doing the learning walks that Jennifer talked about, where teachers come and visit your classroom. So typically we go in pairs, and so 2 teachers had already come in and gone. And then my principal came in, and I thought, well, she's doing the learning walk too. Woohoo, yay, hey. And then behind her came in Molly Spearman and the cameras, and the kids just kept right on working, and people were telling them, "Well, this is a great thing, your teachers won," and they were like, "Yay," and so they cheered a little bit, and then they went right back to
They were very on task, focused on what they were doing.
on task.
That's great. Thank you guys for sharing that story. It's always interesting to find out like how that moment happened for you, because it's such an exciting time. So a few minutes ago we were talking about what advice you might give principals for new teachers, or the challenges that new teachers face. What do you feel like are skill sets or challenges that our students face today, and how can we as educators best support them?
I think now we have a push to make our students 21st century learners. And so we've got a lot of schools that have one-to-one technology, and we have computer labs. But with all of this, I've heard a lot of teachers say that students are distracted, that they lose focus. And what I've really found is I think that they're phenomenally different than the student of 1950 or 1960. They're able to multitask. They do lots of things at one time. Whereas if I were doing homework, I have to shut off everything and nothing else happens. But they multitask. They have phenomenal working memories. Now, long-term memory is something else. So we have to, as teachers, kind of work on making that transfer happen. But they're able to process a lot. They're good researchers because they can get on the internet and the web and research. So I think what we have to do now, we're at a different point in education, and we have different students with different abilities. And so now we have to figure out how to tap into their special abilities. So how do we tap into their ability to research? How do we tap into their ability to multitask and help them to do several things well instead of many, many things and not do any of them well? So we as teachers have to start to tap into what's going on in their lives.
Add on to what she said, I think a lot of what I do in the writing lab, that access to research and access to information from my traditional students in the classroom to my online students is teaching them the ability to decipher through that information. You know, what is a quality journal or article or book that they're reading, and what is just a blog of someone's opinion. You know, to search through that and decipher the fact and opinion and what they can use in their writing and what they can't.
Oh, and such a skill set to have nowadays because so much information is out there.
Yeah, and they say, well, Miss Barley, I saw it on the internet. Well,
Doesn't make
okay,
it true.
But it doesn't make it true, yeah.
And that's true for all contents. We are called to make our students college and career ready, but we're called to make them citizen ready. And bringing those opportunities for research into the classroom does so much. We've been having debates in my class where students can see, should we still continue to produce the penny? What should minimum wage be? And those types of things. So they're going out, they're looking for reliable resources, and they're using their understanding of not only my content, but others as well, to be able to say, I am a contributing member of society, and here's my opinion.
And to learn how to use the technology well. The technology that you were talking about, I think all of this is really connecting, but also to know how to verify sources and how to use the sources without plagiarizing is a big thing. As well as making sure, and I'm not sure how to do this, but I know it's a challenge for the one-to-one tablets for the students to have internet access at home. That's a problem for many students, and that while they can get the internet access at school, or they can go places where there is internet access, it's hard for a middle school student to get to those places before or after school. So you need to find ways to teach them the same way, even though they may not have the same access that other students do. So that's another challenge.
Mind when you're planning for that, so that they're not at a disadvantage from their peers.
Exactly.
Right. Well, we are going to take a look now at some footage where last year Suzanne Cody became our 2016 South Carolina Teacher of the Year, and recently Molly Spearman had a chance to sit down and talk with Suzanne about what she's seen and done this year and what her future holds. So let's take a look.
Hello everyone, I'm glad to have you join us today. I've been visiting with our wonderful 2016 South Carolina State Teacher of the Year, Suzanne Cody. And Suzanne, I remember the day when I called you. You were on an airplane and you found out you were a finalist and then went on to become our State Teacher of the Year. I know you've had a great year. Why don't you tell us a few things that stand out in your mind as the most positive things that you've seen over the last year?
It's been an incredible year. It's hard to believe a year has already passed since I was named, but I've been able to go into a lot of schools and see some of the programs. I'm really impressed at some of the things that South Carolina students are doing. At one of the STEM schools, they're actually using the 3D printer to create prosthetic hands. And so I think that's an incredible use of their knowledge.
Wow. And I'm sure you do. You have an opportunity to really see how things have changed. How long have you been teaching?
This is 12 years.
12 years. So have you seen things change over your career or even from when you were in school?
Oh, absolutely. The teachers are not in the front of the room on stage anymore. Now the students are doing the learning, they're doing the work, and teachers are there to facilitate. It's much more real world.
Right. I see the same thing as I'm going around. What's neat is that that's bubbled up from teachers. We haven't passed any law to tell them they have to do that. They're just doing it on their own. One of the things that I'm real interested in is getting more volunteers involved in more local groups, whether it's the Rotary Club or churches involved. So have you seen community involvement or any examples of really good programs as you travel?
Absolutely. I've seen a lot of groups get involved in mentoring programs, so especially some of our young male students who maybe don't have that father figure at home or a strong male role model in their lives. Some men from the community are stepping in to be role models for them. I also see businesses coming into schools to serve and let students know what's expected out into the career world, and I think that's a good positive move.
Right, and it really helps the kids on a one-to-one basis, and I think the people who go in and volunteer really get a lot out of it too, and they get to see all the good things that are going on in public schools.
Absolutely.
So I'm telling educators to find something very meaningful for volunteers to do. So what about you? Now that the year is about over and you got a few more miles to drive on the BMW, but what are you planning on doing after the Teacher of the Year?
Well, this year I've really discovered that I'm passionate about the recruitment and retention issue. I think it's important that we have teacher advancement. We take teachers to new platforms and elevate them in the profession. And so I have decided to join Sarah. So I'm going to work at the Center for Educator Recruitment, Retention, and Advancement and work with each of the districts on their teacher forums. I'll be working with the mentor programs and hopefully helping to strengthen that retention issue.
Well, great. Well, I know you'll be happy and will do a wonderful job. And I know, too, that you'll continue to be an advocate for the teaching profession.
Absolutely.
So,
Molly, I really want to take this opportunity to thank you. I think teachers are feeling the support from the State Department. They know that you are an advocate for us as teachers. We have a voice now with the focus groups, and you're listening to what we're saying, and I think that has changed the climate in our schools.
well,
And so I really do, on behalf of all teachers, want to thank you for that.
well, thank you very much. I'm honored to have this opportunity.
Well, that's so nice to see a little bit about what she's done over this last year, and exciting to think about what's going to happen this year. So one of the things that they were talking about was that connection between the school and the family and the home and the community, and just helping that to become more of a partnership and more seamless. What are some ideas that you all have about that, about what you could maybe advocate for or foster in your areas?
I'm fortunate enough to teach at a school where we have an open door policy. You know, parents, community members, business owners are invited in all the time. And I just think it's important to have those people who want to volunteer their time to come in as they please, you know, but with a purpose. You know, that has to be driven by the teacher and a partnership with those people to come in and help, whether it's helping to staple papers or read with a child in any way possible. You know, invite them into your school. Don't be afraid of that.
So they have a good idea of what's happening
Yep.
with
They
their
get a
future.
true picture when you come into a school.
Right. What about you all?
Well, there's so many things that people could volunteer to do in the schools. As you said, stapling papers, reading to kids, getting involved even with after-school programs, or even something as small as, it's not really small, coming in and eating lunch with your child, spending time with your child, letting them know that you care and you're there, and letting the kids see the parents with the teachers. You know, we're on the same side. We're all working towards the same goal, and I think it's important for the kids to see that too.
Right. And to know that you're both advocating for their
Absolutely.
best.
And
for
to
their
see
welfare.
the community get involved as well. I think that could send a tremendous message to the students.
And as a parent, I can remember when my children were young, and I had just gotten out of the military, and I was a stay-at-home mom, and I really didn't have any intention on going back to work. I thought I'd stay home with my kids, but getting involved at their school and doing things just really changed my life, changed my focus, and now 20-something plus years later, I'm a teacher because of that. But being in the classroom and seeing what is happening in the community, happening in our schools, happening with our children, and even, like you said, being able to sit down and have lunch with them during the day, because you miss them, your mommy, but that's special time, and you get to meet the teachers, you get to meet the administration, and so I think it's very important for parents to be integrally involved in what happens on a day-to-day basis in the schools.
Absolutely. It's a partnership, and welcoming people in, and they're a wealth of knowledge, and then maybe they are masters of a task that we know this is where this is going to go in your future, and giving them the opportunity to come in and speak about that to students has a lot of power.
Right. Helping the kids make connections between what they're learning at school and their own lives at home as well. What advice would you give to parents about how they can best support their child to reach the goals that we have for them, be it standards or be it life skill goals? What are some things you would advise in addition to getting involved and coming and being part of the school?
I think that now so many schools have learning management systems where parents can look online and see what their children's assignments are And if you would just, as a parent, just check up on your child and see what they're supposed to be doing tonight, tomorrow, next week. A lot of teachers post lesson plans, so that's another way to keep on top of what's going on in the classroom. And so when you're an informed parent and you know what the expectations are, then you're in a position to really help your child to do better and to succeed. And so I think parents need to start taking that responsibility. A lot of them are, and that is wonderful, and I applaud them for that. But if more would do that and take that opportunity to really tap into what's going on a day-to-day basis, what should my Johnny or Susie be learning today? And I think that would really help the teachers and help their student.
And I think knowing that it's great to let us know what's going on in your life, because there may be a way that we can better help in the classroom to support each individual student's needs. We care so deeply, and we want to know because we want to be there for the student and the family however we can.
And knowing, I'm sorry. And knowing something that's going on may change our approach to the child as well, and help us to understand why they're struggling, and give us a little bit more ideas in order to approach the child the best way. So knowing the kids
because
helps.
A student is a person, a human being, and they're not a grade. They're not their behavior. They're not a bad day or a good day.
They're
a
kids.
person. They're kids.
And just, I think that too, what all you have said, it just points towards building relationships, not only with the students, but with the parents as well, so you can better serve the students. Do any of you have any other closing remarks you'd like to make?
I would just like to wish these ladies well, because it
has
been really fantastic getting to know them. And so I guess out of all of this experience, that's been the really big takeaway, is getting to meet so many fantastic teachers in South Carolina.
4 new best friends.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. We hate Joey couldn't be with us here today, but the future of South Carolina is bright, and it makes me very excited.
And it's such an honor to be included in this group. And Joey.
Hi, Joey.
Well, thank you all so much for spending some time with us and sharing your insight, and I wish you all luck. By the time this airs, we'll know. But like you said, the future is looking bright with educators and leaders like you in South Carolina, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, as we said at the beginning of tonight's program, in order to include as many finalists as possible, we taped this program before the winner was announced. We'll leave you now with the video of that announcement at the 51st South Carolina Teacher of the Year celebration. Be sure to join us on May 25th at 7 p.m. for another Carolina Classrooms. I'm Dawn Samples. Good night.
Finalist number 2 from Horry County School District, Joey Trail. Through the tunnel, please give it up for all of this year's Teachers of the Year. Make them feel special. Make them feel proud.
I cannot begin to thank everyone who's been in my path this year, but I do need to thank a few individuals. So first, teachers. To every teacher in this room and across the state of South Carolina, thank you. Thank you for letting me represent you, because I share my title with you. I truly do. Every day you go into your classrooms and you're doing work that matters. Whether you realize that you're being recognized for it or not, it matters.
BMW has been very successful in this state, but the greatest success and honor belongs to our prestigious teachers, our educators, because without you, there would not be an us. Our 2017 South Carolina Teacher of the Year, Jennifer Wise. Richland District 1, Penn Middle School.
Thank you so much. I'm just overwhelmed by the blessings that have been bestowed upon us. and I'm so thankful. I stand before you as a South Carolinian, born and raised in Gaffney, South Carolina, and growing up under the glow of the peach. And I was recently told to be who you are, be where you are, and make an impact. And I am so thankful for my husband and my family and all the educators and individuals across South Carolina who have allowed me to become who I am and to be here with you celebrating education in South Carolina. It is so fantastic, the things that we are doing, and I'm so excited to work with you and make an impact on every child in South Carolina every day, because great things are happening here, and I am so excited for our future. Thank you so much.
Tell me what you're doing to me. Did you find somebody else? Or would you like me better? I tried to change myself.
Teachers, you are phenomenal. You do things tirelessly, and you're dedicated 24/7. You never stop, and you never give up. For that, we are indeed grateful.
I want to remind educators of why they came to this incredible job and reignite that fire that brought them into the classroom. And then I want to inspire people, students and teachers alike, to be remarkable.